got some jams. Now I got some jams on this fantasy playlist of mine. One of these fantasy playlists. November 29th, 1986. Of course, coming up, we got Jesse Johnson doing crazy. Jesse Johnson, who worked with Prince back in the early 80s. Also, Stacy Lattisaw, Nail It to the Wall. Can't wait to get to that one. And some more jams, Control by Janet Jackson. That's pretty mainstream. Tasty Love by Freddie Jackson, pretty mainstream. Goldmine by Pointer Sisters. We got some jams coming up. But one of the ultimate jams. The original hip hoppers. We're going back to the early days of hip hop. Run-D.M.C. at number 37. Hanging in there at number 37. You Be Illin. It's bad. The lyrics are so damn clever in this record. Run-D.M.C., they had this ability. You don't hear this in rap these days, and that's unfortunate. Run-D.M.C. had this knack of fusing rock with rap. It was truly rock and roll. It was basically a lot of rock and roll, if not all of it, for all practical purposes, was invented by African Americans. And Run-D.M.C., they lived up to the tradition. They stayed true to the old school of rock and roll, putting in the rap. And the first song I heard by Run-D.M.C., if I remember correctly, was Rock Box back in 1984. Watched that video on Night Tracks. The top 40 stations would not touch it. This was a ratings killer as far as they were concerned. But boy, they put out some great stuff. Run-D.M.C. I want to go to, well, first off, they're from Hollis, Queens, New York. Three guys, Joseph Simmons and Daryl McDaniels, or it might have been just Daryl McDaniel, and Jam Master Jay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Jam Master Jay. And Raisin Hell was their third album, and this was one of the biggest albums in hip hop. This is probably one of the best hip hop albums ever put out. As a matter of fact, the year was 2006. Time Magazine had named this album, Raisin Hell, number 41 of the best 100 albums that were put out over the past 50 years. They called it rap's first masterpiece, Raisin Hell. It's tricky, tricky, tricky. That was a fantastic record by Run-D.M.C. That's the thing about it. The lyrics were clever. The tunes were just fun to listen to. I could not get enough of It's Tricky. It had such a fantastic dance beat to it. But a lot of people didn't like Run-D.M.C. They were just too... Well, I don't want to get into any social commentary on this video, but they were just too... I'm not going to go there. It's unfortunate. Another great song off that album was My Adidas. You want to hear some jams? You want to get down? Throw in some of that Run-D.M.C. It's tricky. And also on this album, now they put Aerosmith back on the map. Aerosmith had a hiatus for years. Their last big hit, gosh dog it. What was the name of that record they did? They did Walk This Way, Aerosmith. Well, that was actually their last top 10 in years. But I was trying to think of another one they did. They had another song. I can't remember the song that they did in 77. But Run-D.M.C. teamed with Aerosmith, and they did Walk This Way in the summer of 86. And that put Aerosmith back on the map. That set the stage for Aerosmith when they came out with their big comeback hit in 1987, Dude Looks Like a Lady. 1987. The album, one of the producers of this album, is named Rick Rubin. Never, ever forget that name. He is one of the biggest. Just pull up a list of albums that he produced on Wikipedia. Just do that. And that says it all. Two of the albums that he produced, besides this one, License to Ill by the Beastie Boys, featuring No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and of course Fight for Your Right to Party. He also produced albums by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, including Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, that yielded Give It Away in 1991, and there was Under the Bridge in 1992. He produced that. He produced this album, Raising Hell by Run-D.M.C. Run-D.M.C., God dog it. You're probably too young to remember what it was like back in the early days of rap. They spearheaded the rap movement, the hip-hop stuff, the new school of hip-hop. They spearheaded this, along with LL Cool J, the Beastie Boys, and Public Enemy. Chuck D of Public Enemy He was so inspired. He said that the Raisin Hell was one of the best hip hop albums, best hip hop album ever made. That inspired him to sign with Def Jam Records. I mean, these dudes were bad. These are badass dudes, particularly LL Cool J. They took no prisoners. They whipped ass over those boom boxes like you wouldn't believe. And when they cussed, I mean, they cussed, maybe not with the degree that the rappers do today, but, eh, well, I'm done. Run-D.M.C. You'll be illin at number 37.